The sacrifice that happens every 3 years. Final part, the fall of Victor DARAMOLA. Victor did not sleep that night. The whispers had become too clear to ignore. They no longer sounded distant or scattered. They spoke with intent, with certainty, like something that already knew how his story would end. You cannot stop it. You belong to it. He sat on the edge of the wooden bed inside the dim hut, breathing slowly, forcing his thoughts into place. Fear was there, yes, but something else had taken root beneath it. Resolve. If the village would not fight, then he would. If the altar demanded a life every 3 years, then he would be the one to end it. Even if it cost him everything. Victor stepped out into the night. The village was silent in a way that didn't feel natural. No flickering lanterns. No late voices. No movement behind the doors. It felt staged, like everyone had agreed, without speaking, to stay hidden. Or perhaps, to stay out of the way. He walked past the huts, his footsteps the only sound, and made his way toward the forest. The moment he crossed into it, the air changed. Heavy. Oppressive. Each breath felt borrowed. Then the drums began. Slow. Deep. Rhythmic. Not calling a crowd this time. Calling him. Victor didn't stop walking. The path twisted, as it always did, but tonight it didn't try to trap him. It guided him, almost eagerly, until the clearing revealed itself. And there it stood. The altar. Massive. Black. Alive in a way stone should never be. No villagers surrounded it. No priest waited beside it. There was no ceremony tonight. Just Victor. And the thing that had been waiting for him. Faint red cracks began to glow across its surface, spreading slowly like veins beneath skin. The ground beneath his feet felt warm. Breathing. Watching. Victor swallowed hard and stepped closer. For a brief moment, doubt tried to creep in. Then he remembered the young man. The screams. The way the altar had taken him. That memory hardened him. Victor reached out and placed his hand against the stone. The reaction was instant. A violent surge tore through him, forcing a cry from his throat as his body locked in place. His vision shattered into fragments, images, screams, moments that weren't his own. People. So many people. Poured into the altar over the years. Not just their bodies, but everything they were. Their futures. Their names. Their existence erased and consumed. Victor saw what lay beyond it. Not clearly. But enough. The altar was not the source. It was a door. And something on the other side was feeding. Growing stronger with every sacrifice. His hand jerked away, his body collapsing to his knees as he gasped for breath. This ends tonight, he said, his voice shaking but firm. Desperation drove him. He grabbed the jagged stone from the ground and struck the altar with all the force he could muster. The impact echoed unnaturally, like hitting something hollow and endless at the same time. For a split second. Nothing happened. Then the world reacted. The ground trembled beneath him. The air warped, bending as though reality itself had been disturbed. The whispers returned, not as whispers this time, but as a deafening roar that pressed against his mind. Above the altar, something began to form. A shape that refused to stay defined. Dark. Shifting. Watching. Victor staggered backward, his chest tightening as fear finally forced its way through his resolve. This wasn't just an object. This was a presence. And it was aware of him. At the edge of the forest, unseen by Victor, the villagers had gathered. They stood in silence, their faces empty of surprise. This moment, they had witnessed before. And they knew how it always ended. Victor steadied himself, his hands trembling. I won't let you take anyone else, he said, his voice breaking but determined. And then he did the only thing left. He ran toward it. The surface of the altar shifted instantly, its solid form melting into something fluid, something alive. The ground beneath it rippled like water. It welcomed him. No. It claimed him. An invisible force wrapped around his body, dragging him forward. He fought it, digging his heels into the earth, clawing at the ground, but it was useless. Slowly, painfully, he was pulled in. The stone swallowed him. The world vanished. Inside, there was nothing that made sense. No sky. No ground. No direction. Only darkness and fragments. Victor floated, or fell, through a void filled with echoes of those who had come before him. Faces twisted in silent screams. Bodies suspended in a state that was neither life nor death. They were still there. Still aware. Still trapped. The truth hit him with crushing weight. The altar did not just kill. It kept. Victor screamed, not just from pain, but from rage. If he was going to die, then he would not let it be for nothing. He forced himself to resist. Every part of him pushed back against the pull of the darkness. Against the force trying to break him apart and absorb him completely. For a moment, something changed. A surge of energy burst outward from him, rippling through the void. Cracks began to spread through the darkness itself, light forcing its way through like fractures in reality. Outside, the altar reacted violently. The ground shook harder. The glowing cracks widened, spilling light into the night. The villagers panicked, stepping back as the structure began to fracture. For the first time in generations, it was breaking. Victor pushed harder, screaming through the pain, forcing everything he had into that resistance. But the thing beyond the altar was not weak. It had fed for too long. Grown too powerful. The cracks began to close. The light dimmed. The force pushing against Victor returned stronger, overwhelming, suffocating. His strength faltered. The energy around him collapsed inward. And just like that, the moment was gone. The altar sealed itself. Perfect. Unbroken. Inside the void, Victor felt it. The end. The resistance drained from his body as the darkness closed in. The voices faded. The screams disappeared. Everything became quiet. His final thought was not fear. It was frustration. He had come so close. Then, nothing. Morning came gently. The village woke as it always did. Children ran through the paths, laughter echoing in the air. Women prepared food. Men gathered in quiet conversation. Peace had returned. Or at least, the illusion of it. No one spoke of the night. No one ever did. Days later, a stranger wandered into the village. Confused. Lost. Searching for direction. The elders noticed him immediately. They said nothing. They only watched. Deep in the forest, hidden beneath layers of silence and time, the altar stood as it always had. Waiting. The faint red glow returned to its surface, pulsing slowly, patiently. The cycle had not been broken. Only delayed. And somewhere beyond what eyes could see, something ancient smiled.